أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Before we go on and practically look into how to validate formative indicators, let's look at the procedure. The first thing that we need to do is we need to assess the VIF values. If VIF values are less than 5, we need to go and assess the significance of outer weights. If it's greater than 5, then we need to treat our collinearity issues. And no critical levels of collinearity, that is VIF less than 5, we go for outer weights. If these are greater than 5, we need to dismiss the formative measurement model. So once your VIF values are done, the next step is significance of outer weights. Look at the outer weights. Now if the outer weights are significant, we are going to continue with the interpretation of outer weights absolute and relative size. However, if your outer weights are not significant, then we are going to go and assess the outer loading. If the outer loading is greater than 0.5, we are going to keep the indicator even though it is not significant. But what if it's less than 0.5? What if your loading is less than 0.5? We are going to test the significance of formative indicators outer loading. The outer loading is less than 0.5 and not significant. We are going to delete the formative indicator. However, if the outer loading is less than 0.5 but it is significant, we may consider its removal if it's not very critical to the analysis and the content validity. Now we will look into how to practically assess formative indicator and how to validate it. Now recently I've been asked to do a sample model that is formative. That is, the lower order construct is formative, whereas the higher order is also formative. Now there are videos on the channel on reflective formative and reflective. So I thought it's a good idea to do one on formative. That is, your lower order construct like this one here is formative, and these three actually form the higher order construct as well. So this is formative. Look at the arrows here. Look at the arrows here. Look at the arrows here. Now these constructs here all are lower order constructs. And in these lower order constructs, these are formative while all other are reflective. Now these are actually subdimensions or lower order construct for a variable called internal marketing. And I'm taking these as formative. So the lower order is formative, the higher order is also formative. That's why it's called formative. Now here, these four lower order constructs are subdimensions for internal service quality. On the lower level, on the subdimension level, they are reflective, while on the higher order level, they are formative. And this one here is a lower order construct to measure organizational performance. So what I'm going to do is, this is the first stage. Add all your lower order constructs like this. Since these lower order constructs are formative, so look at the arrows pointing. The arrows pointing from the indicators to the lower order construct, the latent variable. Similarly for this one, similarly for this one. Now look at this here. Arrows pointing towards the indicators from the latent variable. So these are reflective. Now the first step, add these lower order construct and make sure your arrows are pointing in the right direction. Next step, we go to calculate PLS algorithm. All fine, let's start. Now here are our results. Let's look at the construct reliability and validity. Look at this. There's nothing here. Look at this. Nothing here. Look at this. Nothing here. Why? Because these are formative. So we are going to assess the alpha, composite reliability, and average variance extracted for the reflective measures or reflective constructs. Let's look at the discriminant validity. Again, we need to assess this only for the lower order constructs that are measured reflectively. Because with the formative indicators, obviously they are not converging to measure the underlying construct. So we do not need to assess their discriminant validity between the constructs. Look at the heterotrait monotrait ratio, all green. Now moving on, let's look at the collinearity statistics. Look at the collinearity statistics for your lower order construct that are measured formatively. Because obviously this is the step one when you are validating your formative indicators. Look at this. look at the rewards and look at the vision. All less than 5, which is good enough for our next step. Look at the inner ones, all good. So we are good to go. Let's move towards the next step. Now that we have assessed the VIF values, the next step is to assess the outer weights and loadings for these formative indicators, forming vision, development, and rewards. So when you are assessing your formative indicators or validating the formative indicators, the first step is VIF values, and then we go for the outer weights and the outer loadings. To do so, what we need to do is we need to go to calculate, bootstrapping. 5000 is recommended, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to keep it to 500. So preferred is one-tailed. If you know the direction of relationship, start calculation. Now here are our results. The first thing that we need to do is go to outer weights. So where are my formative indicators? Here it is. Look at this, development. Now look at the development. Most of the outer weights are insignificant, but we are not just going to go and delete this. Look at this, rewards. Look at the vision. 2 in rewards, 2 in vision are insignificant. But if the outer weights are insignificant, we have to go to outer loadings. Now look at the outer loadings. For development, all of them are greater than 0.50 and are significant. Look at the rewards, greater than 0.50, greater than 0.50 for vision, and all of them are significant. So this means that your lower order formative indicators are valid. The next step is that we are going to validate it at a higher level. We need the latent variable score. Here it is, latent variable score. So what we do is, this is two-stage or disjoint two-stage approach. So this is the first stage. Now that we have done the reliability, validity, VIF score, now the next step is we need these scores. So what we do is we copy them in Excel format. From here, just copy to clipboard, Excel format, and here is my data set. I'm just going to put it at the end here. On the top one, press Ctrl V and look at this here. Now you've got scores for each of your latent variable. And these latent variable now will serve as indicators for your higher order construct. We do not need our case ID, so we are going to delete it. Let's save it. And the next step is we are going to import the new data set. So right click, import data file. And where is my data file? Now here is my data file. Press open and we are going to name it like data latent variable score. Press OK. Now here is your data. Now we are going to model these lower order construct at the second stage. So what we do is, let me create a new model. Create new path model and let's say second stage. Okay. Now look at the indicators. Where are the indicators? Here are the indicators. So rewards, vision, development. Now these are the subdimensions for the variable named internal marketing, IM. But these are formative. Right click. This is formative. The first order was formative. The second order is formative as well. So that's why it's called formative. Now look at this. This was reflective formative. So the lower order constructs were reflective. Look at this here. Reflective, 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 and reflective. But at the higher order, they are formative. Or we can keep them reflective as well. So whatever you want, this is just an example video. For now, let's keep it formative. And your OP, we do not use this in our second stage. The transformed variable is not used because this is a disjoint two-stage approach, not embedded two-stage approach. So we are just going to add the lower order construct as is. Let's rename it. Right click, rename. Let's rename it as OP. Press OK. Now let's arrange it a bit. Put it here, move it here. Let's rename it. Press OK. Let's connect the constructs here, here, here. Now we first need to validate these. The first step is validation. So go to calculate, bootstrap. We normally use 5000, but for the sake of understanding, I'm just going to use 500. Preferred is one-tailed if you know the direction of relationships, and we should know the direction of relationship. This is actually preferred. Now here are our results. The first thing is validating the higher order construct. So what's the first step? Go to outer weights here. Look at the outer weights. Look at this. Development, rewards, vision. Well, this is significant, the outer weight here. Well, this is not significant. Now look at this. This one here. This one here. This one. This one. Well, two of them are insignificant. This is slightly significant. These two are significant. So if your outer weights are insignificant, we are going to look into outer loadings. So the first step, look at this formative indicators. So this is your formative construct. Development, rewards, vision, form, IM. Look at the loadings, all of them greater than 0.50. What if they were less than 0.50? We would have gone to see the p-values. In this case, we do not have any issue with the p-values. So this is the process that you use to validate your formative construct, higher order formative construct. The next step, obviously you've got your path coefficients, you've got your total effects, specific indirect effects. You can use them to assess your hypothesis. Thank you very much.